Will I do more aid? Yeah. The U.S. is going to do more aid for Gaza, but we'd like to have other countries participate. We're going to mention that to the European Union today. That's an international problem. It's not a U.S. problem.
President Trump today on additional aid for Gaza after Israel announces a tactical pause in several populated areas there to open aid corridors to the war-torn region. Rebecca Heinrichs is a senior fellow at the Hudson Institute, also a foreign policy expert, and joins us now. Rebecca, the Trump administration has set out a goal to achieve peace between the Israelis and the Palestinian factions. Why is it so elusive?
Well, I think it's been clear, and Special Envoy Witkoff made it clear that the obstacle for peace is Hamas. This is the terrorist organization that continues to fight Israel. And one of the conditions for Israel to end the war, and the United States backs this position, is that Hamas can no longer be in power. It is a terrorist organization. And so the only reason Hamas is even negotiating at all, because it is currently in power fighting the IDF. And the IDF said that Hamas has to go. The terror tunnels have to be deconstructed. Hamas cannot be able to reconstitute. And Hamas continues to throw up more obstacles and refuses to finally surrender, to say, fine, we will go so that there can be peace in Gaza.
We are looking at video that the Emiratis and others dropped, parachutes full of aid, supposedly for the Palestinian people. But what do you think is happening to that aid?
Well, Hamas has weaponized hunger. And what I mean by that is it has launched this PR campaign to say that there's a famine in Gaza and that Israel and the United States, because we're the ones that back Israel, are essentially responsible for this famine in Gaza. But what's really happening, John, is that the UN has all of this aid that's sitting there. It does not ensure, the UN does not ensure that Hamas isn't the one taking it, stealing it, and then reselling it to the Gazans, who are incredibly vulnerable. And Hamas uses it to essentially say, look, Israel is starving the Gazans, but it's Hamas that is starving the Gazans. Meanwhile, you have a Gaza Humanitarian Foundation funded by Israel and the United States, and they're putting millions of food, meals, formula for vulnerable babies, trying to get it into the Palestinian people and circumvent Hamas to make sure that the terrorists don't get it. It's just not happening fast enough. But it's simply not true that Israel is responsible for any kind of shortage of food going into the Gazan people.
But Steve Witkoff, the president's point man for negotiations in the Middle East, was pretty direct about saying who he feels is responsible. When you're in diplomacy, if you're trying to get a deal with the other side, is it helpful to point fingers?
Well, I think at this point, clarity is essential. And so up until this point, we've tried to sort of, the United States, obviously very clearly on the side of Israel, understanding this is a defensive war for Israel after the atrocious attacks that Hamas committed on October 7th. Israel needs to do what's necessary to protect itself. But having said that, you want to mediate an end to the conflict. But again and again, Steve Witkoff has gone to Hamas, these leaders of Hamas, and really has said, we're willing to really negotiate here. We want to be reasonable, but there are certain conditions that have to be met. And so I think being clear now is essential as we move forward, because if Hamas is going to remain an obstacle and will not lay down its arms and leave so there can be peace in Gaza, then as President Trump hinted, and Witkoff himself, we're going to move into another plan. We don't know what that plan is yet, but I would think it would have to do with cooperation with Israel. Remember, there's still 50 hostages in Gaza. We think 20 of them are still living human beings that need to be reunited with their family. And so there's other things that the United States can do now with Israel and possibly other partners in the region in order to take hold and return those hostages to their families.
Yeah, releasing those hostages on the part of Hamas would do a lot to speed up the negotiations, that's for sure. Foreign policy expert Rebecca Heinrichs, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.